This is Phoenix, a sprawling desert city in the middle of the Sonoran Desert, where summer temperatures regularly exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and water has always been scarce. By every logical measure, Phoenix shouldn't exist, and yet it's one of the fastest growing cities in America. The metro area is now home to 4.8 million people, up from 4.7 million just a year ago. Between 2023 and 2024, nearly 85,000 people moved here, making it the sixth largest metro area in the country for population gains. The city itself added about 1% more residents, while surrounding suburbs like Peoria and Surprise grew even faster. And this isn't a recent trend. Phoenix has been booming for decades, defying both geography and common sense. So how does a city in one of the hottest, driest places on Earth keep growing? And why hasn't the water crisis everyone talks about stopped it? To understand why Phoenix exists at all, you have to go back to its founding. Unlike cities that grew around natural advantages like ports or rivers, Phoenix was built on pure ambition. The city sits in the Salt River Valley, where ancient Hohokam people once built sophisticated irrigation canals over 1,000 years ago. When American settlers arrived in the 1860s, they essentially rebuilt those same canals, using the Salt River to irrigate cotton and citrus fields. But the Salt River wasn't enough. By the early 1900s, it became clear that Phoenix needed more water if it was going to grow. That's when the federal government stepped in. In 1911, the Roosevelt Dam was completed on the Salt River, creating one of the first large-scale water storage projects in the West. This was followed by more dams, more reservoirs, and eventually the Central Arizona Project. The project is a 336-mile-long concrete aqueduct that pumps water from the Colorado River all the way to Phoenix and Tucson. It's one of the largest and most expensive water infrastructure projects in American history, costing over $4 billion to build and requiring massive amounts of energy to pump water uphill nearly 3,000 feet in elevation. The cap delivers about 40% of Phoenix's water supply, making it absolutely critical to the city's survival. But here's the problem. The Colorado River is running dry. The river has been in a mega drought for over 2 decades, and water levels in Lake Mead and Lake Powell, the 2 largest reservoirs in the system, have dropped to record lows. In 2023, Arizona faced a Tier 2A shortage, which cut the state's allocation by 592,000 acre-feet of water, about 34% of what the cap normally delivers. That's enough water to serve nearly 170,000 Arizona homes for an entire year. And yet, Phoenix keeps growing. This is where the paradox becomes clear. Despite a severe and worsening water crisis, Phoenix remains one of the most attractive cities in the country. The median home price sits around $455,000 to $480,000, which is high, but still far below what you'd pay in Los Angeles or Seattle. Between 2010 and 2020, the Phoenix Metro added over 755,000 people. From 2023 to 2024 alone, it added another 85,000, with nearly 49,000 of those being international migrants. The city isn't just growing, it's accelerating, and the economic impact is massive. Its economy has been growing faster than the national average for years. The city's unemployment rate sits around 3.2%, below the national average, and job growth has been strong across multiple sectors. Technology, healthcare, real estate, and finance are all booming. But the real game changer is semiconductors. In 2020, Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company, TSMC, announced it would build a $12 billion semiconductor fabrication plant in North Phoenix. That investment has since ballooned to $165 billion, making it the largest foreign direct investment in a greenfield project in U.S. history. TSMC is now building 6 fabs, 2 advanced packaging facilities, and a research and development center in Phoenix, creating what will be the most advanced semiconductor manufacturing cluster in the United States. The economic impact is staggering. According to the Greater Phoenix Economic Council, TSMC's investment will generate $32.9 billion in direct and indirect economic output, create over $9.3 billion in personal income, and produce $1.4 billion in tax revenue over 13 years. The company currently employs over 3,000 people, with plans to reach 6,000 direct manufacturing jobs by the time the third fab opens. TSMC isn't alone. Intel reaffirmed its commitment to Arizona in 2021, announcing a $20 billion expansion that will create 6,000 new jobs. Amkor Technology is building a $2 billion semiconductor packaging plant. In total, 39 semiconductor-related companies have announced expansions into the Phoenix area since 2021, creating an estimated 80,000 jobs over the next 5 years. This is the key to understanding Phoenix's growth. It's not just cheap housing or warm weather. It's a rapidly diversifying economy that's attracting high-wage, high-tech jobs in industries that didn't even exist in Phoenix a decade ago. The average salary in semiconductor manufacturing exceeds $100,000, and these jobs don't all require 4-year degrees. Community colleges in the area have launched training programs specifically designed to prepare local residents for these roles. But explosive growth like this always comes with challenges. The first, and most obvious, is water. Phoenix's water supply is under immense pressure, and the Colorado River crisis is only getting worse. Federal guidelines governing water allocation expire in 2026, and negotiations between the 7 states that share the river have been deadlocked for years. Arizona, as a lower basin state with junior water rights, stands to lose the most if cuts deepen. However, Phoenix has been planning for this. The city uses less water now than it did 2 decades ago, despite significant population growth. Per capita water use has dropped by nearly 30% since 2000, thanks to more efficient landscaping, water recycling programs, and conservation mandates. The city has also banked water in underground aquifers during wet years, storing reserves that can be tapped during droughts. Phoenix is also investing heavily in new water infrastructure. The city is building advanced water reclamation plants that can turn wastewater into drinking quality water. TSMC's fabs are designed to recycle 90% of the water they use, achieving what the company calls near-zero liquid discharge. Local governments are expanding the Bartlett Dam to increase storage capacity, and there's even talk of importing water from out of state, though that remains politically contentious. Still, water remains the single biggest question mark hanging over Phoenix's future. Climate models predict that the Southwest will continue to get hotter and drier, and the Colorado River's flow is expected to decrease by another 10 to 30% over the next few decades. If water supplies can't keep pace with population growth, Phoenix could hit a hard limit. The second challenge is sprawl. Phoenix is one of the most car-dependent cities in America, and its growth has been almost entirely low-density suburban development. The city proper covers over 500 square miles, making it one of the largest cities by land area in the country. Then there's housing affordability. While Phoenix is still cheaper than California, prices have been rising fast. The median home price jumped from around $293,000 in 2020 to $455,000 by 2025, a 54.6% increase in just 5 years. For long-time residents and working-class families, this rapid appreciation is pricing them out of neighborhoods they've lived in for generations. Despite all of this, Phoenix continues to thrive in ways that surprise people. The city has managed to turn geographic disadvantages into economic opportunities. The desert climate, once seen as a barrier, now attracts retirees, remote workers, and outdoor enthusiasts. The lack of traditional industries forced Phoenix to diversify early, creating an economy that's more resilient than places that relied on a single sector. Phoenix shouldn't exist. It's a city built in a desert, dependent on water from a dying river, and facing a climate crisis that will only get worse. And yet, it's one of the fastest-growing metros in America, with a booming economy, major investments from global tech giants, and nearly 5 million people who call it home. It's a paradox, a gamble, and a test of whether human ingenuity and infrastructure can overcome the limits of geography. Time will tell if Phoenix can keep growing or if the desert will eventually reclaim what was built here. Thank you for listening. Bye.